This is LightCast Entertainment. We bring you details of news in politics, entertainment, everything buzzing in the Nigerian entertainment industry, and many more. Do wait to subscribe to get updates with happenings in Nigerian entertainment scene as well as politics. Many thanks. The dramatic confrontation between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, and a military officer during an enforcement exercise in Abuja on Tuesday sparked mixed reactions across the country. In a video clip widely circulated on the internet, the minister could be seen in a heated argument with some soldiers over access to property within the territory. The clash occurred when Wike and officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration attempted to gain access to a disputed plot of land allegedly linked to a former chief of naval Vice Admiral Audu Zabiru Gambo. In the footage, Wike is seen in a heated exchange which unfolded on uniformed soldiers guarding the site, insisting that the developer lacked valid ownership or building approval. When one of the soldiers resisted his directive, the minister visibly angered lashed out.
That's an officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took this we will not allow because he was chief of naval and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop
and
that?
You get
will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer, I have integrity.
Shut up, your man, put up, sir.
Not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir,
I was in school, you're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
will
me
you keep quiet?
Get
you take food.
I'm not
you are a big fool.
I'm not a fool,
you can shoot anybody like that.
Sir, I'm not
you
a fool.
Who are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As for the time I graduated, you are primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for which order? You will see what you will not do here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go and develop your
I'm not a fool, sir.
You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody. We are acting on orders.
Go and develop here. Let me see you.
Regular officer, you want to come and
we are going to get out. Go.
I'm not even seeing what's recording. Hello, sir.
Director press.
The video has since ignited public debate over the conduct of both the minister and the soldier, while Wike supporters hate his firmness and zero tolerance for illegality. Critics argued that the approach betrayed a lack of restraint and respect for institutional order. Following the incident, Wike in a statement condemned what he described as an illegal occupation of a disputed plot of land in Abuja by military personnel allegedly acting under the orders of a former chief of naval staff. In a Facebook post by his media aide Larry Olayinka, Wike said the act was lawless and unacceptable, stressing that no one, no matter how highly placed, would be allowed to obstruct the enforcement of Abuja development laws. The Land Department of Development Control have been mandated to monitor illegal development and land grabbing, he said. When this issue was brought to my attention, I directed that nothing should take place there since there was no legal document or approval. Unfortunately, soldiers chased our officials away. Wike said he personally visited the site after a report that soldiers had again returned to block FCT officials from carrying out lawful enforcement. The minister further revealed that the developers failed to present ownership documents or building approval. Wike said that he had already reached out to the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Naval Staff, who promised to address the situation. He reaffirmed his resolve to restore order and accountability in Abuja Land Administration, warning that the FCTA would continue reclaiming encroaches area no matter how powerful an individual is involved. In reaction to the confrontation, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC, Joe Igboekwe, called for disciplinary action against the soldier who exchanged words with Wike. In a Facebook post, Igboekwe expressed outrage at the confrontation, demanding that the soldier uniform be removed for what he describes as an act of insubordination. Who is this man in uniform, or what meat is he fed? Who is beating the drum for him? This is unacceptable. His uniform has to be removed, Igboekwe wrote. Former Minister of Aviation, Osita Chidoka, however, took a different view, faulting Wike's approach and accusing him of overstepping his authority. In a statement titled Minister Wike, Power Process and the Rule of Law, Chidoka said the FCT minister's decision to personally enforce a directive was a fundamental mistake. Any law enforcement officer in uniform or plain clothes represents the president and the sovereignty of the Nigerian state. To abuse such an officer is to diminish the authority of the republic itself, Chidoka said. He argued that the minister expected to act tough established institution, not personal impulse. A formal communication to the Minister of Defense would have sufficed if the officer were acting unlawfully. Trading words with a uniformed officer corrodes discipline and confuse hierarchy, he added. Chidoka also criticized the conduct of Wike's DSS security aides, saying their role was to de-escalate tension, not worsen them. Their responsibility was to extract their principal from potential dangerous situation, not to escalate it, he noted, describing their encounter as a cautionary tale about power process and restraint in public office. Similarly, former Kaduna State Senator Shehu Sani also cautioned, advising Wike against what's termed performance confrontation with security personnel. Wike is doing an excellent job in Abuja, Sani said in a post on X, but he should not be encouraged to do this kind of stunt with soldiers. However, a coalition of Nigerian military veterans also condemned the minister's outburst, accusing him of insulting a uniformed officer and undermining the dignity of public institutions. In a statement by spokesperson Abiodun Durojaye Herbert, the coalition of military veterans said Wike's comment were unbecoming of a public official. How can a minister call an officer a fool on camera? If he was responsible, he would have engaged the chief of naval staff privately rather than attempting to disgrace a retired senior officer. The group warned against any attempt to punish the soldier involved, threatening protest if such action was taken. If for any reason the officer is punished, military veterans will occupy the office and residence of the SC minister, the spokesman warned. Meanwhile, Civil Realization and Advocacy Network has condemned the alleged deployment of soldiers by former Chief of Naval Staff to guard a disputed piece of land in Abuja, describing the action as unconstitutional and assault on the rule of law. In a statement signed by its president, Olu Omotayo, the group said the incident represents an aberration in constitutional democracy and a clear sign of a failed system where the military is misused for private interests. Omotayo said it was disturbing that a retired senior military officer could deploy troops to protect personal property while many parts of the country are under siege by terrorists and bandits, in a country where the security of lives and property cannot be guaranteed. Redundant officers are being deployed to guard an empty land when terrorists and bandits have taken over some parts of the country, maiming and killing Nigerians daily, the statement read. He recalled that the current chief of the French staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, had earlier informed the National Assembly that the military was increasingly being deployed to perform police duties, a situation he said further exposes the situation decay in the system. Kran maintained that the alleged deployment of troops by the former naval chief has no legal basis under the Nigerian constitution. On his part, a former chief of army staff, Tukai Bukai, roundly condemned Wike's action. In a statement, Bukai described the confrontation as a threat to national security and called for immediate response. In a public disparage of a uniformed officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces descended mere misconduct, it represents a powerful threat to national security and institutional integrity, Bukai said. He added that the minister's verbal assault on a military officer undermines the chain of command, disrespect the authority of the commander-in-chief, and damage the morale of those serving in the armed forces. This action by Wike is clearly an indication of undermining the federal government's authority, Rufai said, urging the minister to apologize to President Bola Tinubu and the officer involved. Our nation's security must come first. It is time for decisive action, not policies of military bashing. The integrity of our armed forces demands nothing less, he added. Arise TV News anchor Rufai Hussaini, in his reaction in a post via X, said, that officer deserved a national award. Calm, firm, collected, while Wike was busy misbehaving like a TikTok skit maker. Wike called him a fool and the soldier replied, I'm not a fool, sir. I have integrity. The line alone finished the argument. You could almost hear sense leaving Wike's body when wisdom failed. Wike switched to the big man script. You were in primary school when I graduated. That's the emergency line when logic no longer works. The same playbook Umayi used on Rufai Hussaini. Age has become their last remaining certificate. The man stood tall, kept his man in order, and showed what real discipline looks like. In the moment, Wike went low and the officer went high. Palm met principle. One was shouting, do you know who I am? The other was quietly showing who he truly is.